Okay, welcome to the family for this very, very special pitch night, pitch don't kill my vibe night, with only startups from eFounders. Who knows eFounders? Raise your hand. All right. Who doesn't know at all eFounders? Okay. Well, so eFounders is a startup studio. And basically, they focus on problematics, and then they find great entrepreneurs, and they test, they prototype, they test again, they prototype again, they work, they hire the best. Actually, sometimes they hire employees from Lion. Who have heard about Lion? All right. Lion is a school for free every Saturday to learn here how to become the best employees to join the best startups. And it's given by the top of the pop, la crème de la crème of my startups. It's hard to get in. It's only 10% selection out of 1,500 people who apply. We take only 150. But it's really, really, really useful. And I really encourage you, if you want to become an employee of a rising and a growing startup, to apply to Lion. And actually, the winner of the pitch session tonight can send, without going to the applications, his employees to Lion School. But it's not the only thing that it has tech tonight. Because tonight it's about pitching. It's about discovering new products. It's about having founders, young founders, here, trying to give you the best of their story, of their product. It's not about a typical investor pitch. It's not about my figures within 5 years, it's going to be like that. It's about talking to you, the audience, the potential users, and to make you want to actually download this app or use this product or talk about it and sell it and become a fanatic and an ambassador to everyone that you meet in the bus, in the street, anywhere. So you will listen to them. It's hard, it's first time. Be nice. Why do we do that at the family? Because we really believe that it's hard to become naturally, to be a good storyteller, and we think you can train yourself. We think you can rehearse and get better. And we are not bad, but we are used to hear founder stories and to test new products. So we're going to give feedback, cool ones, but honest ones. Sometimes it's hard, and I hope that you will learn also through what we're going to say. Just to know, who in the room is a startup founder? Raise your hand. Who? Okay, thank you. Who is a designer? Wow, that's missing. Thank you for being here, man. Who is a business person? And who is a tech person? All right. Okay, so the good thing also about this event is that you can connect with people that you don't know, and we really invite you to connect, to make connections. There is one thing that is super important. It's pay it forward. What does it mean? It means we don't know who you are, you don't know who is your neighbor, but if you give, if you open, before you know, before you even imagine how you can get something out of this, you'll see at the end you will win. This is about the paying forward. It's about giving before you get. Don't anticipate what you can get out of giving. So the rules are simple. They all have 5 minutes to pitch, no more. This is what we want to hear, at least, is really simply the one sentence. What's the big problem? Show us a demo. The demo moment is so important to make it appealing, to make it sexy, to make the people want to use it. Here you have to be creative. And then talk about the market. And what's interesting about the market is to understand how you understand the market. What is the link between you, your secret view on this market? Everybody knows there is a problem, but why you can solve it differently? And then the amazing team. And of course, if your English is better than mine, It's going to be amazing. Tonight, we'll have Slite, Briq Near, Forest and Station. Woohoo! You already know what the winner wins, but they will also have the trophy, which is this. Yeah. Okay, so you know me, I'm Alice, I'm the CEO and co-founder of the family. It's been 4 years that we started the family. It's 500 startups that we accompanied. The sum of the valuation of all of our startups is more than 1 billion now. I'm super happy about this. Yeah. And it's 4 million views now on YouTube. So there is something interesting to know about that. Is not only you will discover new startups and you will get feedback and everything by pitching on stage, but also it can be a cool first community to start with because it's approximately 5 to 6K views on each video. Balthazar, who are you?
Hello, my name is Balthazar. I've been working here for 3 years now. I take care of the fellowship, which means everything we do for startups. So going from where to find the best startups, who to select, and then how to design a program that's actually useful for all founders.
Hello everyone, my name is Andrew. I'm half English and half French, but I've been asked to speak to you in British English today. And previous to this, I've done a number of different things. I was a VC in London with a firm called Balderton Capital, or in French, known as Balderton Capital. And after that, I set up a few companies, mostly in e-commerce, one of them called Westwing, where we took money from Rocket Internet and lived a funny experience, raised over 100 million, did lots of fun things. And now I invest a little bit in startups, a few in the Paris scene, and I'm running a vineyard in the south of France.
Let's start. Give them a lot of courage, love, encouragement.
So thanks a lot, Alice. Thanks a lot to the whole family. I'm Christophe. I'm the co-founder of Slite. And actually, I'm here today to speak about your team, because your team has a big issue. So let's say that tomorrow you have a meeting with your team, you take a big decision. Who in this audience can say where you will put this information on black and white so that everybody can retrieve it later? You can't. And actually, this is more profound than that. All your content, all your knowledge is spread across a lot of tools, a lot of people, and therefore it's lost. And you're supposed to capitalize on that. Well, and the academic solution will be to use some kind of wiki, but let's face it, nobody uses wiki. And we thought about that. And we really think that the only solution is to have just one place to write down your knowledge, but also to find it. And this is exactly what we do with Slite. One place to create and access all the knowledge of your team. And knowledge can be meeting notes, it can be process, it can be whatever you want that has some value to your company. And you may think, how can we do that? Actually, we are using something that you use every day. I'm ready to bet that everybody in the audience today is using almost every day some kind of note tool. You're using Apple Notes or Evernote or some kind of paper sheet, whatever. And why? Because a note is just the best way to mark down an idea and to share it with other people. That's why we built Slite, which is the first note app for teams. So let's take a moment. This is awesome. This is as big as Slack. Actually, Slack changed communication with chat. We are changing knowledge and content with notes. Okay, we are pretty young. We are 10 months old. And we already built an amazing product that is used by hundreds of users daily. This product, what you see on the screen, is a full real-time note application with a collaborative text editor. I won't list all the features, but let's just say that this product is based on simplicity. First, we took the pattern of Slack. When you create a note in a channel, it's shared with everyone that can access this channel. Second, since you have all your information in one place, when you want to retrieve some piece of information, you just can't find it. And eventually, you have one editor that is always on, always ready for all your teammates to write down their knowledge. And let's take a moment. This is awesome. Because when I was saying knowledge and the word wiki earlier, you probably all thought about a pyramidal structure, some top manager forcing the collaborators to write down some articles. This is the worst way to envisage knowledge. Knowledge is much more than that. Knowledge is something organic that is created by everyone, and you must empower all your employees, all your teammates to write down this knowledge. And this is what Slite allows. So we are already in beta for the last, we have been in beta for the last 3 months. We already have more than 30 pilots on the same page, both startups, larger companies, and ecosystems. And they all told us, actually, they were the one that told us that we created the first living wiki, living knowledge. And well, to accomplish that, we need the best team. And we already have, okay, some kind of issue with the layout here, but we have the best stats we could hope for. We are 4. We have Briq that already went through the Lion program, so if we win, it's useless. But we have Pierre and Arnaud that lead the technical team that's both already developed Note application. One developed a Note application that is used by more than 50,000 users every day. And on my side, I'm also a developer, and I founded 2 startups previous to Slite. So, as you can see, our vision is huge. We really think that Slite is not just a product, but it's a shift of paradigm. And we hope you want to make your team shifting too. And so just head at slite.com to get your team on the same page. Thanks a lot for your attention.
All right. Okay, so I'm going to start. Thank you very much. Thanks for your energy. Thanks for the flow, for the rhythm, it was really a good pitch. It wasn't too long at all. It was perfect. I wanted to listen to you. Your slides are beautiful. It looks, for me, it was a good moment, a really good moment. The product is appealing. Just a question like that. How many people in the room, oh, be honest, want to try now Slite? Yeah.
Go to slite.com.
Go to slite.com. Obviously, it was a very good pitch. So, bravo.
Awesome.
What I could tell you to really make you win all of my trust, I would say maybe, I love when you say this is awesome. I love it. I love it when it's bold, when it's ambitious, and it's not really Frenchy in the style. It's cool. It's refreshing. So this was really good. But to make me really follow you, I want to know what you've learned from the people who started using it. Because you give a lot of promises, and almost sometimes you had the tone of a journalist at TechCrunch.
Okay.
You know, like this is the analysis, like this Slite will do that, you know, like we will be as big as, which is cool to be bold, but then you want it to be illustrated by your learning curve. I will believe you if you teach me what you've learned. And this was for me a little bit missing is why is this problem it hasn't been solved? Yeah. You know, maybe you can answer.
Well, I think the first thing that solved this problem, it seems totally simple, is just to have the same place to write and find. And the fact it hasn't been solved yet is because it's really challenging on the product side. Because when you have all your meeting notes and all your process, all all the knowledge that you're supposed to put on a wiki at the same place where you put all the knowledge that is almost flow, this is challenging on the product side. So I think this is why it hasn't been solved yet and why we are solving it.
Mm-hmm. All right. Okay. Mm. If
I can give you an example if you want. The fact that, I don't know, actually 2 weeks ago, I was at Side's office, okay, yeah. Upstairs. I was exchanging with the CEO of Side, and I was writing down the key takeaways of our meeting, you know? Okay, they are ready to test Slides, it seems awesome. They are switching from Notion, awesome. And I'm explaining all the use cases they want to try. I come back at the office, and Pierre, our developer, already knew all about that. And actually, this can, I don't know, they need a feature. It can throw at the product team. It's the fact that everything is at the same place changes everything.
Okay.
because meeting meets knowledge.
All right.
So I thought it was also, I like what you said actually, I thought it was a very good energy, simple slides which we like, and you immediately started with the problem that you're trying to solve, which was almost engaging the audience and saying, you already know what the problem is, it's this. And Slack figured out communication, we're going to fix knowledge. I mean, that was immediately, it kind of resonates quite nicely. And I think, I probably speak for most of us here, that we've all faced the same problem many times. What do we do with all this knowledge? How do we build a repository? How do we find it? And it's very frustrating. I think one question she asked, which she didn't really reply, is what have you learnt from the usage so far? Because there are lots of solutions when it comes to knowledge management. I mean, there's Dropbox, Evernote, wikis, all sorts of things. Dropbox paper, I don't know how well it's performing, but there are lots of solutions. So what have you learnt that makes your product that much better than everyone else's?
I'll try to be as clear as possible, but of course I could do some kind of grid showing you like versus Dropbox, we are the best. No, okay. The thing that changes everything is the fact that at the same place you have one editor and you have this organization that show you in live all the updates. When you think about a wiki, you will read some knowledge, some articles written by other people, right? You will never update it. It's always outdated. It's some kind of, I don't know, it's a CEO and CEO spending 6 months of their time, and in 6 months after that, it's old. The fact that at the same place you have the editor and you have the updated vision of the knowledge is game changer. Next, I think that's the vision we have, the vision we carry. The fact that Slite is supposed to be the only repository of all your knowledge will bring us at the next level. The fact that tomorrow we'll build an API open so that you can use this data, fetch this data, and pull data to Slite so that your knowledge is even more always up to date is the key for the future.
So this is your pitch to me on the product, your vision.
Yeah.
What have the people that have been using your products been telling you the real world? Because there's always a theory about how products are going to be used, but what is actually happening in the real world?
That's a super question. So we have teams that rank from 1 people, of course. The 30 companies were not 1 people, it's more than 3 people, but from 1 people to 150. Of course, the use cases are not the same. And this is really the thing, we want to bring these fences down. I mean, the A/B testing, for instance, which is our biggest user, they really believe they need a wiki separated from the rest of the content. Our work is to prove them wrong. What we've learned from the startups from, I would say, 5 to 30 users, is that this kind of habit, mixing meeting notes, interviews, and knowledge process is awesome. They love it. They really do. I mean,
have they stopped using Google Docs, Dropbox paper?
Yeah, Google Doc, absolutely. This was the most technical, challenging part because you have to build some kind of collaborative text editor. This is hard. But yeah, it was the first step. We thought, okay, we'll release that, and all the Google Doc will go away because, I mean, finding a Google Doc in Google Drive, knowing who can access what, it's a mess. So it was super easy on this part. The next part was, will we be available to have some kind of knowledge in this? Mm-hmm. And actually, that surprised us. The fact that, indeed, this company were building knowledge in it. But as I'm telling you, it's not true for the biggest company. It's still a challenge.
I have one last question, which is maybe a little bit unfair. So all these people are going to go and try Slite. Yeah. They'll become addicted, and they'll stop using Google Docs and everything else. What are you going to do on pricing?
On pricing, okay.
Are you going to suddenly say, well, sorry, now you're locked in?
No,
what's the surprise going to be?
This for a personal use case, this is not better than Evernote or Apple Note or Google Doc. Mm-hmm. This is awesome for teams.
Yeah, imagine all these teams are now using it. They're locked in.
So it will be a pricing similar to Slack. It will be a freemium for small teams so that they get all the value we are bringing to them. And once they are like, okay, obviously I will pay for Slite, we'll make them pay.
Okay, thank you.
A lot of things are common for me. You explained the big trend really well and the vision you have for the product, and you are able to sell the problem to everyone. But in the end, I feel like I'm going to try the product because of the problem, not because of the solution you bring. Because everyone knows that Node sucks. From mobile to Evernote, we tried everything and no one has found something that's good. And in the end, I'm just going to try like this. And I would like you to take my hand and bring me to a use case that actually going to make me use it. And it's actually, I think it's the same when you use the product. I started using it, and if you see it just as a wiki, the first work you ask me is huge, because I need to document my onboarding processes. I need to document something else, and that's a lot of work. And there are a lot of use cases that will ask less work from me. For example, having every interviews, every note on every interview you do in a company in a centralized place is a use case that's useful for most people. So I think you can bring things from A/B Tasty saying that for them it changed everything doing recruiting, for them it did change everything doing this, so that you get everyone using the product, because that's your challenge. It's how you go from just setting up because it's free, it's easy, to actually really using it.
That's a really good note, especially since you already use the product, so I can relate.
And the other thing is, there are two things you don't talk about that are problematic for me with notes. One is the difference between hot and cold content. So there are my notes on my iPhone. I use it for many other things. Then I use a Slite, which is supposed to keep being updated to just reminders. And you don't talk about mobile at all. Yeah. I think it's because it's not yet in the product, but it's something you could mention as something that's coming.
Yeah, it's coming. It's coming, but yeah, on the first point, the hot and cold content, so the content that will live for a long time and the one that is supposed to die right now and just reminders, I really think that the hot content is especially true for your personal use, and you can keep that in your Apple Notes. The hot content for me will be my daily meeting with my team, for instance, and this is really useful to have it in a slide.
And I think you can mention more the notification part on the left, so that people understand that it actually gets updated or proof checked every time something is written, which you didn't in the pitch, and actually changes a lot of things.
Is that distracting, or is that?
No, I think it's great. It's just like if I update the process file, someone is going to see it and going to say, yes, that's good or that's not good. And it helps keeping everything up to date.
Actually, maybe something that I would like you to teach us, I would like to see you as an expert of how do we learn and keep learning in a team, because the type of content, and you were talking about use cases, I see obviously the onboarding, for instance, new employees. How, when a new employee comes into your team, do you give him all of the culture, all of the rules, the way you work, all of these kind of things? It should be somewhere like that. But this is one use case, and I would love you, because it's key, it's always evolving. It's how do we, what do you know about it? I mean, do you have any?
Yeah, absolutely. So two things about that, because it's kind of the same question, and it's because you tried that Slite already, I guess. But the fact is, today Slite is in private beta, so that's when you arrive on Slite, it's just a blank page, more or less. And it's pretty frustrating. That's why we are coming in physical to all our clients to demonstrate them the power of Slite. The fact is, we will solve this with two things. First, the easiest way is just to push articles of how our biggest customers are using Slite to solve X problem. And I will send you the articles when it's out. And the second part, and it's actually one, I think it's bigger than mobile. It's all the onboarding process. This is, for now, it's like totally absent from the product, because we prefer to focus on the challenge that we had, that is the editor, the real-time process, the notification, and all of the stuff you see at the screen. But the onboarding process is really a UX problem, and we're going to solve this. And I think by the end of summer, you will have some kind of kick-ass onboarding.
And at the end of the pitch, you can ask to the audience to use Slack to refer you teams, ask what you need.
Okay. Well, refer Slite as much as you want because, well, the fact is the best way you can help us is think about the teams that surround you in your ecosystem or whatever that have the most important need for knowledge and that already are facing the issue of wikis. Because the one that use wikis already understand the issue and they are totally ready to switch on Slite. And if you know some people like that, feel free to get in touch with me and them at christoph@slite.com.
All right, thank you.
Hi everyone, I'm Laurent, and today I came to say thank you. Thank you for your beautiful job last week. You did a tremendous job, actually. I hope someone thanked you for it. Saying thanks, you see, it's pretty easy to do, but actually it brings a lot of value. It's very powerful. When you thank a colleague, you make her feel welcome, you make her contributions feel welcome, you make her feel engaged and motivated in her work. So saying thank you and congratulations is very powerful. At eFounders, we have always had a very recognition-rich culture. So a culture based on saying thank you a lot. And at one point, there was a challenge. How do we scale that culture to a growing team? As a tech company, we turned to a tech solution, and we decided to make recognition as simple as a Slack command. How does it work? Thank you for the question. Well, basically, it's a Slack command. You just give some credits to one of your colleagues, and you say why you give them credit. You could actually give 1, 2, 3, 4 bricks, any number you want. It's a virtual money, and we saw that it helped to scale the culture, but it did more than that. Now people were actually giving recognition to each other for things they wouldn't even notice before, or they would take for granted. And it really increased the collaboration between people and the knowledge sharing between people. So to go further with the experiment, we decided to make bricks redeemable. Now, with the bricks that your colleagues would give you, you would be able to buy something like the hoodie of the company, or maybe an iPad if you get enough bricks at the end of the month, or probably more probably a year. And so it became obvious at that point that, of course, bricks were a great way to increase the sharing of gratitude between people, but it was also a very efficient way to motivate and incentivize employees. And that works because for years, lack of recognition has been one of the main factors for employee disengagement and unhappiness at work. It has been cited in studies and surveys for years and years and years. And a brick would deliver recognition in the most efficient way. Recognition touches you the best when it is personalized, frequent, public, and when it comes from your peers. It was so efficient that we decided to bring the product to the whole world and give superpowers to teams all around the world. We decided to build the product based on 2 main principles. The first one is peer recognition. I told you about that already. Peer recognition influences happiness at work directly. It increases happiness at work. And that has a net benefit for the company because more happiness at work means more productivity and more talent retention, which is what costs probably the most to companies around the world. The second pillar of Briq is that every company is different. Each company has its own needs, its own values, its own culture, or its own operations. So Briq needs to be adaptable. You need to be able to pick why and how you are going to reward your team members. So we built a platform with a growing set of apps where you could probably decide whatever use case you want to reward your people, your employees for. You want to reward them when they share your corporate content on social networks? There's an app for that. You want to reward them when they refer great candidates for your open position? We have an app for that. And actually, yeah, that's kind of plagiat. Okay, whatever. Actually, for your very, very specific needs, we have a very simple API that you can use to give bricks your way. So, second pillar, Briq is adaptable. And with those 2 principles, we think we have a virtuous circle where members of the community, employees of a company, are able to take care of each other's happiness at work thanks to a peer recognition program funded by the company. And the company is taken care of by its members, by its employees, thanks to custom apps adapted to the way the company works and what is important to your company. So this virtuous circle, that's what allows me to state our mission loud and clear. We are going to be the platform for peer recognition and rewarding for every company. We will be the operating system for happiness at work that we will deliver thanks to peer recognition and frequent micro rewards. Thank you for your attention. I am sending a lot of bricks your way. If you want to know more, go to givebriq.com. We have a lovely website, so you should probably enjoy it. And if you are a developer and you want to build some new stuff on top of Briqs with us, we have an hackathon going on July 6th. So just come to me at the end of the session, and we'll talk about that. Thank you.
So you guys get recruited on the English.
I wasn't. Lucky accident.
So the pitch is really good. You explain every benefit of what you're building. It's well structured. At the end, we understand what it's going to give us and how we can customize it for us. So at no point you talk about a problem. I think it's most likely because people don't realize that there is a problem. But at least you could try to show the wave or you're riding or the trend. So it's saying startups try to build a culture that doesn't exist in the old world. Employees don't want the same as our parents. And we are enabling this for all startups. So just for people to realize that it's actually a problem. Because otherwise it sounds like a nice to have. I'm here, I have my company, everything is working, I think I have a culture, I say thank you. I don't know if it's at 10, 20 or 50 employees that I actually need to take it seriously. You can make it more tangible, saying that culture scales from the very, very beginning and that it's a platform that lets you do it. So that otherwise, I don't know, I'd go by, because I try every new product I see, but I'm not sure founders realize that they need it, they don't know which rewards to give, they don't know for what action they could give rewards. So you could get a bit more specific on this to help everyone.
Thank you.
That's okay.
No, that's absolutely correct, of course.
And it looks like you know the pitch perfectly. The joke on we have an app for this works really well. And I think you could do it, not especially this joke, but it feels like a very rational and structured pitch. And at one point you could like catch the audience a bit more and try to captivate them and like really like show them you're changing the world. But otherwise, like every argument is really good.
Thank you.
Hi, so I liked the beginning, again, because you immediately connect with the audience by giving them something, which is thanks, and immediately they can imagine, you put them in the right place to imagine what the product might give them as an emotion. Then I thought, I've got a little bit of a feeling that it's still kind of looking for the right kind of product fit a little bit, because it feels a little bit like, you know, you're fitting a narrative around some very cool kind of features that you've built, and the apps are maybe you know, there's an app for everything. I'm not sure if I'm looking to use a product that I want, you know, I want a bit more certainty over the benefits and what the use cases might be. So there you lost me a little bit, but maybe I'm a bit too old school for this. I think there's one clear. I remember seeing a statistic somewhere that people are not always very happy with the feedback that they receive. So typical recognition is done. Your boss invites you into a room. They sit you down. They talk to you for an hour. They say, okay, here are the 3 good things you did, and here are the 3 bad things, and this is what you can work on. And something like 50% of people feel satisfied with that. But if it's peer recognition, I think it's something like 80%. So you have something that's potentially very powerful. It didn't completely grab me with something, you know, I immediately want to start using. That's my, because partly also, what is the real problem? You highlighted some of the benefits, benefits. You receive thank yous, it makes you feel happy. When people can give little thank yous all the time, that's very good. What is it you're solving? And culture may be one thing. I don't know. That's the bit that was a little bit missing for me, to be honest.
Okay. Do you want me to answer the question of what we are solving?
Yes.
We are
please.
solving happiness at work. That's very bold.
You did actually mention that.
Yeah. We think recognition is probably the main component. When we cite, when we ask people for why are they unhappy in their work, lack of recognition appears in more than 70% of the answers. And it's been the case for years and years. And you talk a little bit about the traditional way of distributing recognition. It's top-down, it's once or twice a year, it's very formal, and it's secret, actually. It's you and your manager. And actually, there have been plenty of studies that say that's the exact opposite of what needs to be done for recognition to be effective. It has to be from your peers, it has to be frequent, personalized, and public. And we believe that the way we build Briq with two kind of layers, the first one being peer recognition that has all these benefits, and then another layer of more traditional or top-down rewarding that is automatic and personalized, public, and frequent, will actually increase every employee's happiness at work, which in turn is beneficial for the company because talents stay longer and they are more productive. We think, actually, it might sound like nice to have, but it's actually the main pain of every company that is growing, how to attract and retain talents in your company.
Okay. And so who's using it today? Are people very happy with, I mean, you're using it.
We are using it at
eFounders.
eFounders because we kind of built it organically for the 3 last years, and then we reboot it to make a standalone product. We have 25 pilots now, companies between 8 and 250, no, 200 people. 250 people is not fully onboarded yet, so I'm not going to count that. A/B Testy is, of course, also one of our pilots. They test all the eFounders product. They are very happy with it. They were actually struggling to keep the culture through their very fast growth. Their culture of recognition that was in the DNA of the company, but which was a bit disappearing through the growth and the spread in a few different countries and everything. So what we have, the feedback we have from that is that it kind of created new interactions. We saw a manager in Poland thanking a techie in Paris because he has trained his his sales in Poland. And so people who wouldn't communicate, people who wouldn't even know about each other, were suddenly thanking each other for something that was beneficial to the whole company. And that's what we see at almost every pilot we see.
See, I think what you've added there for me was necessary. I think maybe little bits of this, a little bit more in the presentation.
Okay, maybe concrete feedback and use cases, things that are improved in real life with Briq.
Perhaps, yeah. I don't know what you guys think.
It was a really good pitch. It was clear from the beginning to the end. The slides are beautiful. I think it's something from all of the teams. Really, really impressed. But not convinced. And I will tell you why I don't buy it. I mean, I would like first, sorry, I shouldn't have said that. Who would like his or her company to actually use this? Yeah. All right, it's a bit less than the first one, the previous one. And let me tell you, I think there's something. When you started, I felt like we were in a church. You were the priest. Thank you, Lord. You know, like, really, we could have sing gospel, and it was almost too good. It's linked with the pitch. It's like, we are French, don't forget. And whenever you pitch to someone. And here you are in a French crowd. And French crowd, happiness, it looks like a cheesy word from the US, like pretending that we're focusing on happiness, but what the hell, man?
Who wants that anyway?
No, it's not about that, because I don't...
We want revenue, not happiness,
no.
right?
What you supposedly in your pitch. You're pretending you're attracted by happiness, but you're talking about productivity, efficiency, and not for the sake of happiness. And that's where I don't follow you. So for me to be convincing, because I know in the end, it's of course we have to encourage bonuses in the language, you know, like being thankful and everything. But if you say it like that to a French crowd, they won't believe you. I mean, to convince me, you would have just to start by a simple story. It's about psychology here, right? It's about trigger in the brain that it doesn't seem to be important, but actually it changes everything. And it does. And obviously, all of the one-on-ones that a founder can do with his employee, it's all about this. It's all about the level of happiness, feeling fulfilled in their job, feeling recognized. It's all about this. It's all about humans. So you're touching the most important thing, but the way you sell it, for me, is too American in its style. And I would really go with, first, the data. You know, we started with something. Allowing people to reward each other. And it looks like a game, it's super cool in the design. Huh? And then, this is what happened. And here, I follow you. And then, you explain the psychological trigger behind. And this is the secret that you've discovered. But if you start by happiness is cool at work, then you look like Michael Jackson, like, we are the world. You know, like, too naive for me.
Thank you. I love Michael Jackson.
I love it too.
No, I understand what you mean. I totally understand what you mean.
All right. We are all cynical, yeah. We start through there, and then actually we buy your story, and that's the most important.
I agree totally, because that's the feedback that we have had from several of our leads and pilots. And then we just say, okay, never mind, you are a cynical, just try it. Try it, and you will see. And actually, when they try it, they get hooked very quickly. Even when they were cynical, like, yeah, I'm not buying help from my colleagues, and I'm not paying for services that should be free and given to... Well, actually, that's not what you're doing. You're saying thank you, and your company is kind of pushing the thank you and attaching some value to it, which can be anything, actually. We can buy an iPod in a company. You could buy a kiss from the secretary. You could buy the next song on the playlist. You could buy your ping pong table in the lobby. We have people inventing all kinds of stuff that are considered rewards for them.
Just a question: there is a list at the end of who is the winner and who is the loser?
Of course not.
Okay.
It's all done in a lot of kindness.
Okay.
There is a leaderboard. There can be a leaderboard, because we have seen, in the beginning we didn't want to. And then we have seen that it's a very, for some cultures, a friendly competition can be actually helpful to drive engagement and usage of the tool. So we have a metric that we invented, the Briqster metric. You don't exactly know how it's computed. It's based on who you give to, the number of people you collaborate with, how much you give, how much you receive as well from how many people. And that actually is kind of a secret score where people can try to be the best. There is absolutely no ranking of the worst, because that would be very demotivating, I think.
Not cool, yeah. All right. Well, otherwise, I really want to test it.
You want to test it,
but I don't know if inside the team. We'll see.
You know what?
We'll
Just try it.
Yeah,
you will be hooked.
we try.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Bravo.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for being here today. It's really exciting. So, I'm Noe. I'm the CTO and founder of Near. Near is a simple and powerful app that enables you to handle all your team's contacts, relationships, and stakeholders. So let's take a second and think about your contacts. I mean, most of you guys are entrepreneurs, you're professional networkers, you know that your contacts are one of your biggest assets. And if you think about it, the only people who know how to handle contacts and who actually have tools to handle relationships are the sales teams with their CRMs. But for all the other people out there, and that includes you and me, there is nothing. Personally, my team's contacts are scattered across multiple platforms. my phone, my LinkedIn account, my mailing list, of course, my user base, and my Gmail. And if, for instance, I'm planning an event, or I need to find the right journalist for my next press release, I'm going to make a mix of all of this and put it into a spreadsheet. So spreadsheets are cool. Don't get me wrong, but they are not made to handle contacts, not at all. For multiple reasons. Well, the first one is that they're time-consuming to maintain. I mean, you have to put in all the contacts by hand, you have to find duplicates, you have to update them, it's a mess. Then they're one shot. There is no follow-up. For my next event, I'm going to put up another spreadsheet. And of course, all the time I put into the first one is going to be lost. And last but not least, they are limited in features and they require special skills. I mean, I bet not everyone in your company is able to maintain a complicated spreadsheet. Plus, let's say it, they're ugly. So that's why we created Near. Near is not a personal address book. It's not a sales-based CRM either. It's a new class of product. It's a collaborative address book made for teams that enables you to store all your contacts of your company, all the stakeholders, all the relationships. And we decided to make it so simple to use. That's why we created an app that looks and feels like an address book, but where anyone in your team can join, add contacts, modify them, tag them, organize them, and of course, action them. So at last, you can handle contacts as a team. Plus, let's say it's pretty cool. So we decided and we tried to fix most of the pains of these usual tools. And the first one is always the same. How do you put the data inside the product? Data entry. It's a mess. You have to put in all the contacts by hand. It's time-consuming. It's error-prone. And we paused a moment and thought, your contacts, your relationships are already out there. So let's just plug in to your sources, your contact sources, and import them right into the product. So that makes for a powerful way to handle contacts. But we don't want you to handle contacts. We want you to handle relationships. And relationships are so much more. Every relationship is different. I mean, some of you guys will want to send emails to your contacts. Some of you will want to invite them to events, to call them, or to send a form to fill. And for all of this, you actually already use tools, great tools that you know and that you love. So that's why we decided to integrate. Integrate with your Aircall, your Gmail account, for instance, to log in calls and emails into the activity feed of your users. But also, for instance, Mixmax or Mailjet to do some mass emailing. And that's a nice way to handle relationships. But you meet contacts every month, every week, every day even. And your contact base is going to grow fast and become impossible to maintain. So that's why we decided to bring in a lot of intelligence into the product. First, we want to help you choose which contacts are important to your company. So we built a perfect import experience. Next, you'll need some data about your contacts. So we're bringing in auto-enrichment and tag suggestion to find some profile pictures, social profiles, or for instance, company and job position on the web, but also to tell you, hey, maybe this person is a journalist, let's tag him. Since you're bringing in contacts from different sources and different collaborators, you're bound to have duplicates. So that's why from the first version on, we decided to build intelligent duplicate handling. And of course, since you have to find the right contact to contact at the right moment, we built in a powerful search and smart list. So where are we going? Well, if you listen carefully, everything I told you is going toward a clear goal, a simple vision. We want to be the only place where you store 100% of your company's stakeholders. We want to plug into all the contact sources and be integrated with all the communication tools out there. So we want to become your company's contact hub. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much. So you're solving one of my biggest frustrations, which is contact management, and I've tried lots of different things, and it's incredibly frustrating. And I think I think you've highlighted the challenges very well, and that's clear. And I think, I mean, at least to me, it looks appealing enough. I've found historically when I've tried different systems, it's always in the detail of the implementation that it falls over or it doesn't. Whether it synchronizes well, whether it dedupes well, whether it pulls in the information correctly, and then the privileges. If you know some contacts you don't want to share, you want some of them to be shared and not others. So that's a little bit hard to judge you on without having tried it. But I think overall, I like the problem that you're solving. I think you present it pretty clearly. I would say I would say anytime you think about a solution to change something like this, especially if you're already using a CRM solution or you're already using a solution, you need something that you need a few features that are massively better than what you're using today. And that's maybe the bit that I'm missing. You know, if you're going to target X number of people who are using, I don't know what CRM solution, why is your solution 10x better or 5x better? What is it that really makes you want to switch? Because the switch is painful.
Okay, so we don't necessarily want people to switch from their CRM. I mean, most CRMs, some of them are not, but most CRM are around the deal and the sales, and we're really around the contact. So we may even integrate with some of the CRMs out there. What we really want to be is the place where everyone is stored, and CRMs are mostly about prospects and clients, usually. We want to be able to store your journalists, your investors. We want to integrate with tools that you use to communicate with them. And if you take all of the great communication tools out there, most of them have contact management that sucks. And so we just want to become this thing, the contact management system that integrates with all the tools, and we don't want to touch the communication tools, we really want to be the contact base. And I'm not sure that we want all the people to switch from their CRM. I mean, there are some great CRMs out there that are really around the deal, and we want to keep that. We're not really trying to do that, to do some analysis on your clients and on your deals.
So if, for example, if I have a company and I'm talking to investors, I don't necessarily want all my investors' contacts shared within the team. So what's the reality of the solution? I mean, sharing everything is, you know, it's a big trend at the moment to share everything.
So yeah, of course, it's really complicated. So for now, everything is open. That means that if I invite you to my organization, you will see everything I decided to share with the company. So of course, that's a lot. We'll build with our different pilots the different right management that they'll need. I guess there will be some different teams maybe inside a company with different kind of access, and maybe you can have private contacts that you can unlock with, if you ask the owner. But for now, it's only supposition because we need to work on that with our pilots. But of course, we know that it's going to be a pain for many people to share the contacts because it's a company asset, but it's also a personal asset. And we know that people will want to keep that for them a bit. So yeah, there's a real question about that.
Okay.
So one of my biggest problem also, I think it's everyone's problem, and I'd love it if it worked perfectly. So I'm gonna try it as soon as you let us try it. I have some of the same concerns about how to import and who gets what right, but here we're quite open on this, so it's not the biggest issue we have. I'm sure you can figure it out. I find that you give all the right reasons for why it would not be a problem for me to actually keep it updated. So the relationship plus automatically syncing everything with all my sources. So that is the first big pain that I have. The second would be, how do I actually use it? Is the search working? Can I do like faceting? Can I and on the usage, who do I share it with? Why do they use it? If I don't remember the name of the guy, most likely I'm not going to find it here. Maybe just browsing the tags or something, but I'm sure you thought about it and you know how people use it once you've stored everything. So you think you can tell a bit more about it. And so there's a few things that the product absolutely works perfectly for. So it's importing all the contacts, maybe finding and something else. Like just push on these 2-3 things that really, really work.
All right.
To be honest, I use tons of contact and I'm lost all the time. But here, I mean, you're good at pitching. It was clear, etc. But it's too large. I mean, for me, I was lost up to a certain point, and I was looking at the crowd, and actually people were watching you. So I think I was the only one who, because it's too big and it's too theoretical. It's too like, this is the problem, this is the solution. I mean, the solution of contact is not gathering all of the contact and making it. There are use cases, obviously, and I don't see. I don't want to do any work. Having to tag and to create list of journalists, another one, list of investors, another one. and so if here the way I see it, I mean, in the design it looks pretty much like Slite. No, a little bit.
Well, that's yeah.
Yeah, obviously. No, but it's just that here you didn't grab my attention on one specific thing that is painful, that I don't manage already. But I don't know. I think maybe other got it. I didn't. I wasn't totally.
Okay. It's a bit like the problem. Everyone has it, and then you explain the solution in very detailed things. Whereas just saying that you store everything because you're synced and that you manage the future is quite enough. It's Dropbox that says it just works. That's worked for them. For you, it's just that you go a bit into. Same for me. After like 2 minutes, I stopped listening for like a minute or two because I was like, yeah, it's going to be cool what he's saying. It's going to be fluid, transparent, this and this and this and this. At one point, I don't need it anymore because you convinced me that the product is good, that the problem exists, and I want something more that's not just features.
Yeah. Okay. If you just tell me, for instance, I take all of your devices and in one place, I can show you for one person all of the history of exchanges from your text message to your Facebook Messenger to your WhatsApp and your Gmail and also in your team, I can show you. Is that possible?
You can't get my WhatsApp messages.
Ah, yeah. But I mean, if you can tell me, okay, this usage, like I show you the history between this person and all of the people of the team, it's enough for me. It's already a fucking good product. But just start like this. I mean, it's otherwise, I feel like you're building the...
Too many things.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was my feeling.
Is that a sign that you're going to YC?
What?
Sam Altman.
Why? Oh, well, not really, not yet. But we will. Not yet.
Who want to use it? All right. All right, good job, man. Thank you very much.
Hello, everyone. My name is Sandro, and I am the founder of Forest. Today, all web-based applications, all web-based companies use a ton of SaaS. You use Stripe for your payments, you use Mixpanel or Google Analytics or Heap Analytics for your analytics, you use Salesforce for CRM. But what do you use if you are on a food delivery company and you need to track your deliveries, or you are on a SaaS and you need to reset a user password, or you are on the marketplace and you need to moderate your content, or just blocking a company account? You use your admin interface. You know the admin.yourapplication.com you all have. If you need to explore and manipulate your app's data, you need to build an in-house admin interface. This is the only choice you have, and it's been 20 years since it's like that for every web companies. It's costly and inefficient. Developers spend 20% of the time building the admin instead of just focusing on the product, and it doesn't create any direct visible value for your customer. And business teams, of course, are underarmed to manage the operations inside the admin interface efficiently because the admin always lags behind the product. So what would be the perfect solution? Why not just put the admin interface on a SaaS? With hindsight, at Forest, we've just noticed that all operations in the admin interface always follow the same patterns. You create, read, update, delete data, and you have a bunch of custom things like, custom actions, custom permissions, custom flows, or custom views. And technically, we also noticed that web applications today are all built the same way. You use frameworks like Ruby on Rails or Node.js, you have APIs, and so web applications today have been standardized. The way we build web applications have been standardized. And so this gave us the opportunity to imagine a universal admin interface. This is what we do at Forest. We directly create the admin API of any web application, and we give to the business teams an instantly operational admin interface to let them browse and manipulate their app's data, triggering their custom action, managing the permissions, managing their views, and let them customize the UI exactly like Squarespace, but for your admin interface. So having the admin interface on a SaaS also improves the way people consume the admin. It creates new perspective for the admin interface in 3 main areas. The first one is the interface. Presenting the data in a more suited way just optimize the business operation in your company. And tomorrow you will be able to use directly your admin from your mobile phone. Before you even leave your bed, you will be able to review your data. Forest also enables collaboration and communication directly inside the admin where all your data is. And last but not least, the integrations. So because we are a SaaS that is directly integrated to your application using an API, we are also able to integrate all the other SaaS, your Stripe, your Zendesk, your Salesforce, into one place and just optimize the operation and automate some processes that take place into multiple platforms today. One could think we would be on a crowded market, but as I already said, we are the first SaaS that is directly connected, integrated to your application, and have a complete access to your database, of course, without owning or even seeing your data, for data privacy, of course. So at Forest, we target the developers, of course, because today they build the admin. This is the developers. So we all speak code. All the team in Forest all speak code. It's easier for us to reach the developers' markets. And in parallel, we are the best position to understand, to analyze all best performing companies for their operation, how do they run their operation currently on the admin interface, and just propose the same operational maturity to earlier company from day one. So it means that from day one, you will have an extremely robust admin interface to manage your operation like a plus Series B companies. Thank you very much.
Really good pitch, a lot of passion. You're into it. And well, I'm going to be short because I'm not a developer, obviously, right? I would have liked to have in the pitch what you've tested with developers and with teams, and it's already tested or not?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
So Forest is used by approximately 200 companies right now. So
okay.
yeah.
So this is something that I would have loved to see, and how they rely on it, how they come back to it, why it's changed their life basically.
Yeah.
This is something I need. In terms of slides, there are so many things that are written, but nobody reads your slide, right? So your all of this. Sentences. I would have used images to
Too much text.
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe it's slides that I think when I thought okay, it's slides that he used to pitch clients, because they will read it by emails. Yeah. Otherwise, so speak about the use cases and the people, the users who are actually clients, and otherwise, really good energy. No, really
Thank
good
you.
pitch.
Hi, so I thought also very good energy, great start. I thought you lost it towards the end a little bit. You were it was getting a little bit into you couldn't see the wood from the trees, the forest from the trees. That's an English saying, by the way. But anyway, basically, I agree. I think you're basically making some developers transforming them into superheroes, because historically they're being hit on the head because they're not quick enough to deliver something that the rest of the teams can use, because they're bug fixing, whatever else. And here's something that saves them time and gives what everyone's screaming for in the rest of the company. So you're turning people who used to be really, respected but with a lot of frustration into superheroes. They're going to get 50 bricks from the rest of the team as soon as they open up the admin interface, and I'd even put like a developer with a superhero thing, and loosen it up a little bit. I think some of this stuff is for the detailed pages in the back on the FAQ sites or something like that. I had no idea what you guys were doing, so I looked at the site and I tried to go onto the demo link, and it wasn't working. There were error messages everywhere, so that might be also something worth checking into. So I think keep your energy, simplify it. I mean, I'm not a developer, but I think you're giving a solution that people want. So it looks exciting.
Right?
So same great pitch. You explain quite well what you're doing. But as a startup, I use Front, Slite, Mailjet, and not Intercom and all the other products. And what I missed is for the first 3-4 minutes, I didn't know whether you were speaking to the entrepreneur or to the developer. It brings many things that I understand as a developer and as an entrepreneur, and I don't know who you're targeting at all, whether it's giving superpowers to a developer or if it's enabling an entrepreneur to go faster on business operations or to have the rest of the team actually benefit from an integration, like where you say everything is centralized. It's not to the same people you're talking to.
Yeah, so the decision maker is the CDO because they build the admin and there is no other solution, right? So this is the decision maker, this is our target. But our end user, the real people that use the admin every day are just the operational team. So basically, at BlaBlaCar, they don't use Forest, but at BlaBlaCar, there are more than 600 people. They all use their admin interface, and they all want to centralize the sales teams, the growth team, the marketing, the developers, the founders, etc. So our target decision maker is the CDO, but at the end of the day, it's the operational team.
So when you do this, you plan to talk to developers or to entrepreneurs?
So today, for early and medium-sized company until 100 people approximately, it's the CDO. After that, we optimize. It's more a pain of optimization because when you are in a company with 200 people, you already invest a lot of time in your admin interface because it is a problem you all have, when you grow. So you invest a lot of time. And so if you want to switch to Forest, this is a decision from the operation team, from the COO or the head of operations. But before that, it's still the CDO, the decision maker. So now we focus our energy on converting.
So you
the
don't
CEO.
talk to developers when you do that?
Excuse me?
You don't talk to developers when you do that?
For mature company, for more than...
when you do this pitch? Not the product, I
Oh, yeah.
understand. But when you do the pitch.
No, it's not. It's not a tech pitch. So yes, I'm talking to the business guys, operation team. Yeah.
So that was a little bit lost on me. I mean,
Okay.
I'm a little bit surprised that you're saying you're going after the CEO because the CEO kind of wants a solution.
Not really the CEO, but more the operation. So, when you are an operation guy in the marketplace, you do moderation. Every marketplace do moderation because someone just comments, your marketplace, and you need to moderate in your admin. So this is a job of customer success, or I don't know, Same things if you need to track your deliveries in the food delivery company. So there are a lot of many use cases. And
well, I mean, if you're going after the CEO or the CEO, then I wouldn't even mention APIs. I'd say, let's say you're a food delivery company, then this is what you can do with our interface. In a few clicks, you can see orders per region in certain time. You can optimize your flows or whatever it is. If you're pitching to developers, then put APIs and just say, look, this is how much time it took previously, and now it takes you 30 minutes to do this.
I mentioned APIs and in the wrong way. I got it.
I mean, most people know what an API is.
Yeah,
now,
but because this is our
show the solution. I think.
Because this is our secret sauce, So what I would like to say is that today every SaaS just provide APIs for integrations, but there is no standard API for the application. So this is a little bit our secret sauce. This is why tomorrow Salesforce cannot just have an admin interface on the SaaS. This is why we are alone on the market today, and why we just.
Yeah, but that's not what you
so
tell
technical.
the CEO. He doesn't care. It's your.
Yeah, you're
secret.
right. You're right. Yeah.
Is it any of it self-serve? Like if I'm in an ops team, can I drag and drop things and make my own dashboards and
Yes,
stuff like that?
exactly. So we want to let the business teams autonomous of customizing their admin for exactly like Squarespace or Wix for your website, but for the admin interface. So yes, so we want to reduce the developer time. So of course, just hiding collection for specific teams or just rename some technical stuff. You can do it or add the dashboards, etc.
See, I didn't get that from the presentation, and that'd be amazing to have that. So.
Okay.
And
I mentioned it, I think, but
you said that.
Yeah, maybe a little bit because I speak very quick.
On the competition, wouldn't you put Stripe?
Or because Stripe is exactly like the other SaaS. So basically,
on the far right.
And I hate
On the
this
top
slide,
right.
by the way.
Yeah.
because Because Stripe is not, they don't have access to the database, right? Like Intercom, you install something on your app, and then you push data to Stripe, right?
They don't have access to their own service API.
Exactly,
Yeah.
you're not completely integrated to the application.
But they integrate to Intercom, etc. now to centralize the data.
Excuse me?
With the new product, they integrate with Intercom, etc.
Yeah, of course, because all SaaS integrates everything, you know. Salesforce has tons of integration, Intercom certainly have tons of integrations, but no one is able to integrate the app because there is no API. This is why we are alone, and this is the purpose of this slide, to show that any SaaS today is not able to go on the right side, except if you build in-house or you use some open source tools, but of course it's not companies, and so it's just like toys.
I really don't like this slide, by the way, I'm sorry.
Excuse me?
I don't like this slide.
Yeah, I know that you don't like the arrow, right?
Well, no, there's even an arrow going down. So I
Oh.
thought Forest was the solution that takes up the most developer time. I mean, I just don't get it. I don't think it's necessary.
You're right.
And,
right.
for me, I got lost for the last slide when you told me I got the Series B operations from day one.
Yeah.
I think if it's your closing sentence, make it more simple than this, because I don't get why I would benefit from any later stage company having their operations with Forest if I'm an early stage company.
Yeah, so what I mean by that, and I agree it's not enough clear in my pitch, is that when you know today, if you run a food delivery company, you need to start your admin from a blank page, you know, and for any web businesses. And so what I would like to say is that with Forest, we are in the best position just to understand exactly how Deliveroo just run their operations, right? And so just provide the best view, the best flows, the best way to manage your operation, even if you are 10 employees.
I'm really not sure Deliveroo wants you to share that information, by the way.
They're never going to let you replicate everything they built and say to someone, oh, it's
of course.
Deliveroo self-serve.
Of course, this is a strategy of Forest, because if you use Forest, if you convert to Forest and you grow with us, right, we do not have access to the data, but we know exactly what kind of operations you do.
Yeah,
so
but I'm Deliveroo.
Yeah.
There's no fucking way you're going to tell everyone else my processes. There's no way.
Okay. Okay.
It just doesn't happen.
Yeah. For now, we are able to convert.
Unless you give everything for free, and then, you know, as a quid pro quo, but
why? Just for the operations you do?
Honestly, like, I've run an e-commerce business, and the hardest thing is logistics, and you have to reinvent everything, and you spend a lot of time and money doing it. You don't want anyone else to know what you're doing, really.
Okay.
Like, that's the reality.
Okay. So you want to keep it at home and just hire a developer team to implement your operation?
No, I want to use your product, but I never want you to share it with anyone. Like, I don't want you to tell that I said an email 2 days after a package comes back, and then I do it. I don't do quality check because it costs money. I don't want anyone to know that.
No, of course, but we know that, you know, your custom actions, for example, is most of the time you I don't know, you check the package and then.
But I don't want you to share it with anyone.
Nobody should know what I'm doing.
Okay.
And if you say that, I'm not sure the 200 clients you have understand that you might share anything they do.
No, that's the problem. So so today we already proven that companies with 100 employees can switch to Forest. This is the case, for example, for Apartment List in San Francisco. But this is our focus, medium-sized company. But honestly, we do not.
What's the name of the company?
Apartment List. It's a San Francisco company.
How do they source apartments?
Can you give us the business model?
Excuse me?
Can you give us the business model so we can?
I can talk about this.
No, I'm kidding. To Balthazar's point, and on you started really strong, and I agree with him. Your last slide was a bit weak.
Yeah.
Anytime you have 5 minutes, people only remember the last 5-10 seconds. So you have to end very strong with a catchy phrase that everyone wants to remember.
Okay. Cool. Thank you.
Hi everyone, my name is Julian and I'm here today with our amazing CTO Alex, and we'd love to introduce to you Station. a new workstation that is directly inspired by today's new ways of working. It all started with a very simple revelation, that today most of us spend more than 90% of our time inside web applications at work, like Slack or Trello. But at the end of the day, the single application most of us spend most of our time on is actually your browser. Every morning, billions of people around the world launch their browser to start getting work done. But somehow our experience at work has become more hectic than ever. And who in this room, raise your hand if you've never ever experienced a screen like this on your laptop. Don't raise your hand, please. And the truth is, you have 50 tabs stacking up on top of each other, you get lost in your tabs, you try to multitask, and you end up completely losing focus. And the reason for this is simple. Today, we use more web applications at work than we ever did in history. All of our working tools are becoming SaaS applications. And as a result, our ways of working have changed dramatically. But what's even more astonishing is that the very browser we use to access those applications hasn't really changed in nearly a decade. In 2008, less than 10% of companies use web-based applications, and our browsers looks like this. Remember, there was a time you went on MySpace or Yahoo email when it still exists. That was like the middle age of the web. Today, most companies use web-based applications, and our browsers still look the same. It hasn't really changed. But today, you use that same tool to sign important contracts with your customers, to review your entire analytics, to do customer support, to design mock-ups. It's a whole new deal. At Station, we decided we had to design a solution, but we knew that if we wanted to build something meaningful out there, we actually had to start from scratch. Today, we are building Station, a workstation that is directly inspired by today's new ways of working. One that employees wouldn't just have to use because it's become a commodity, but who actually love using. Think about your smartphone for a second. On a device the size of your pocket, you can see all of your notifications neatly organized. You can do an instant search inside all of your applications. We believe that your desktop deserves just as much, and actually even more. Meet Station. We're today integrated with more than 200 of the most used web applications out there. We're designing Station to be SaaS first, because we know that you spend most of your time inside web application. That means bringing together all of your notifications and your working tools inside one neatly organized and intuitive interface. We're designing Station to be collaborative, because we know that teamwork is at the center of every task we achieve. That means syncing up all of your contacts you most use and making them available at the blink of an eye. And finally, we're making Station instant, because we know that access to information and speed is vital. That means allowing you to search for any information, such as the name of a client, inside all of our applications all at once. And this is just the beginning. Today, we're building a community of users that love using Station, and even more, they've adopted it as their new standard way of getting work done. 1 in 3 of our users use Station at least 4 days every week. They spend more than 6 hours in it every day. So naturally, we started to talk to our users, right? And we talked to them, and what we realized is that everything I've just talked to you until now is actually just the tip of the iceberg. There are even bigger problems to solve for companies. Let me explain. Today, 3 in 4 companies have literally little to no overview over their entire SaaS environment. What that means is that they end up wasting time and money on onboarding and offboarding employees. They completely compromise security and data because they don't manage authentication. And even more ridiculous, they waste their entire IT budget paying for applications that they pay for, but employees actually don't use. And all of those problems put together cost companies more than $15 billion every year. And as more companies use more web-based applications, the problem is just getting bigger. That brings us to our vision of the future. Today, software as a service is eating the world. It's just a fact. And we believe that with Station, we're building a product that puts us in a perfect position to solve every major aspect of the SaaSification of work, from what it means for an employee's productivity with a workstation, all the way to the IT challenges that companies face on a daily basis. Imagine when one day, employees around the world spend more than 90% of their working hours inside Station. That is like a quarter of a lifetime. This is more than you spend in your Slack, your Gmail, your Facebook, all put together. We'd love to dream with you about it, but before we do this, make sure to join the future of work on getstation.com. Thank you.
Is it basically a browser where you've moved the tabs to the left?
So we get that a lot. People even tell us, this is a bookmark on steroids, or what is it? What is this thing about? In the original, we wanted to have a completely new design. We just wanted to rethink the experience. Originally, yes, it does look like this, but all of the features we're building go way further than that. So we've talked about doing a search inside of your application, this is not something you can do today on a browser, right? Being authenticated inside all of your applications is not something that necessarily a browser will do natively, right? Being able to, this is basically what we're trying to build, is retake the browser, kind of change the experience so you can get more focused through it, right? So we have those apps on the side. So we try to think the browser not in terms of like pages, web pages, but in terms of applications. Because today we don't really consult web pages, we actually access web applications.
Okay, and so I like, I'm curious, but there's a little bit of me which is thinking, what are the 3 out of 4 people who are not using it when the 1 in 4 are using it all day? Why are they not moving across?
Good question. So we talk to them a lot, and basically there are 2 main reasons. First is that today we're still in beta and there are some bugs, right? Some applications won't log in. Balthazar is one of our users and he knows this. So there are a lot of bugs. Basically, when you start a new browser where you spend 90% of your time, there are every reason to leave the tool, right? There will be a little bug here and there, something won't work. The second reason is that they tell us that today it's not enough differentiated compared to a Chrome, and we agree with this. As you said, isn't it like you just move the tabs on the left? This is what a lot of people tell us, and that's why we're building those features on top, like a notification center, which is something you have on your smartphone but don't have on your desktop. Centralized search, which is again something you don't have on your browser. So we know that on our roadmap, we are addressing those problems. So we're already happy that we can keep 1/3 of our users with some of the bugs we have, and the fact that we don't yet have a major differentiator compared to Chrome. And we also confirm that basically people are not necessarily in love with their browser. It's a commodity, right? They use it because it does the work. They're not necessarily in love with it, and they're really curious to try something new. It just needs to work.
Yeah. So I like your energy and your dynamism, and I think that's a consistent thread through the eFounders team so far. If I kind of close my eyes and I try to remember, the 3 or 4 slides that really stood out, I can't remember them. There were quite a few slides, and the message was a good one, but it was kind of spread somewhere, and I can't tell you the 3 slides. I think there was one slide where I could see the product for the first time, and there was one slide with adoption, with the hearts, and those are the 2, and the rest I can't remember at all.
Well, that's the most important.
Yeah, and so I think you can cut down slides, and you can strengthen
Definitely.
the message on some of those things.
Agree.
And it's, to give you some credit, I think it's an ambitious, they're all ambitious projects, but it's ambitious in terms of getting all the bugs out and the security and the single sign-on and all that kind of stuff. And so you're selling the future a little bit when you're pitching right now. So I appreciate the challenge, but I'm curious, I guess. I'm not completely sold. I won't use it immediately.
Are you going to try it after the bit? I can onboard you right now.
I probably would try it, but reluctantly, and then
It's perfect.
I'd hope for a wow experience.
Great.
I hope you guys can deliver fast because the search, the browsing, etc. doesn't exist yet. But I love that you're actually testing this towards an audience before they actually use it. It's good. For the sake of arguing, I'd say the browser has changed quite a bit. Just adding a JavaScript engine that lets people do all the things that you say are different between the 2008 and now, because everything that you do in the browser is just possible because that changed. And then you just change mostly the layout just afterwards when you show
maybe I'm not. It's the experience that hasn't changed.
Yes, yes, I agree. And then I have still the same. We already talked before. The same problem is I don't know who you talk to. Whether you talk to the end user saying you ate your fucking Chrome, so you want to go to something that's better, where you have notification and search, and then when you say people use SaaS in enterprise and not everyone is using it, and you lose money, and that's two different kind of person you're talking to. So focus it on one or the other, because if you talk to the CEO, he doesn't care that a few things don't exist yet. If he wants the management of security and the usage of all apps across Steam, it's enough. I know it's not live.
Yeah, what's interesting is that we actually tried to do a pilot with Mailjet, which is one of eFounders companies, so it was easy to get through the door. But we first pitched just the the B2B value proposition. So you can authenticate in your SaaS, you can have an overview of everything. And then we say, by the way, you need to add a workstation that employees have to use. And of course, there was objection because the tool wasn't ready. So we realized that first we had to nail the end user app as a productivity tool, otherwise the model wouldn't really work. We know there's value in having a workstation, but it needs to work really well, and it's very challenging. I didn't know, I'm not technical, Alex can tell you more, but it's incredibly challenging to build a new workstation or a new browser for enterprise. So we knew we had to nail that part. So we went back to focusing on the end user. Today we have a very bottom-up strategy where we just get users in our beta just like this, but we're starting to pitch companies about the B2B value propositions, and one of the big ones is onboarding and offboarding of employees, especially in fast-growing companies, where it's a major pain. And we know that with Station, we have a perfect tool to solve that problem. So the next step, once we've built those features, that's why we're hiring a developer, by the way. If you're a full-stack developer, we were hiring that full-stack developer basically for that reason, to build the enterprise features and start to reach out to companies and try to approach them with that value proposition you've been talking about.
Yeah, I agree on everything you say, that both that it's very difficult technically. By using it every day, I can see that the kind of bugs that appear are like 10 times worse than whatever other product you're building, because it's very tiny details where files doesn't download perfectly and then they fix it and then it's perfect. Like, it needs a lot of engineering, and I agree that it needs to be very good for the end user before you pitch the
We try to see it both ways. It's challenging, it's also a barrier to entry for anyone else who want to do the same thing.
Yeah, of course. That's always the great thing.
Yeah.
When you do it right, it's a barrier for anyone else. Other than that, the pitch is like really good.
Okay, thank you very much. Amazing energy, really. But the thing is, you didn't grab my... I'm sorry. My heart, my attention, my emotions, because this pitch basically, I didn't get it at the beginning. I was like, the same question as you said, like, but why? They are my sidebar being the focus. Okay, right? Why not? Is it only a design matter? Is it because we have tabs everywhere? No, but make it like really simple. I mean, a simple story. Talk as if you were the user. Like, it's about stress, okay? It's about being pissed off. It's about context switch. And it's about bringing your personal way of being every day, using your mobile phone and going on WhatsApp, on Messenger, on this and that. And it's stressful. And we bring your personal way of doing your stuff to your professional thing. But the way you put it is too much theory and too much corporate. Like you make corporate something that is not corporate in the end. It's just about making it smooth. Like the way you work should be as smooth as the way you use your app for life, you know? And that's what I miss here. It's too standardized. It's too, I mean, you sell like a super good salesperson, but it doesn't sound like you put yourself in my shoes and just make these simple stories that grab my emotion, that these tabs are stress. Context switch is a loss of time. Like every time you go from an app to another, you have 20-minute brain of lost concentration to adapt to the new things. Give me simple stories so I can understand and rely and not make it too complicated. That's for me.
Actually, I think I understand. One thing I just got is it's your fault if we don't understand it, because you compare it to a browser with too many tabs, and then you show us a browser with too many tabs, and you should change the problem. The problem is not having 10 tabs open, and that either you just focus on the fact that they're not always at the same place, and we have to find it, or it's not the problem because you have the same thing afterwards. So you put us in a mental state where we're going to try to fix the too many tabs problem, and we see full tabs. So just change, and that exists because that's how you saw the problem and how you started to fix it. And now that you fixed it, you realize that you need more. But just change the initial problem, because it's not that you're solving anymore.
Yeah, and even actually when we talk to users, we realize that, I mean, the too many tabs is one thing, but more than that is also separation between your private life and your work life. And today when we talk to users, they tell us the biggest value of Station is this is where my work is, and then I keep my browser for my personal things. And I agree that in the pitch we didn't push that enough.
So in 10 words or less, what is the problem you're solving?
Sassification of work. It's a bit, yeah, I know it's not a very sexy term.
In words that are in the dictionary, 10 words or less.
Yeah, for the user, it's the fact that they now use more and more web applications, and that all of their work is going into the cloud, basically. And we're building the operating system that takes all of those applications and make them work together well. Maybe the analogy with the operating system is more clear.
The last bit was good, I think.
Yeah.
But you know, the problem is not that things are going into the cloud. The problem is that we're...
Yeah. I mean, we say sassification because it's a problem for the employees' productivity on one hand, but also for companies, right? And we're really trying to solve both challenges. We don't want to be seen just as we're an end-user app, we're just a workstation, and there's no value behind it for the company. Actually, the biggest thing we bet on is the value we can bring for companies. We're convinced that some people will be convinced about it, but the only way to get full adoption in a company is to get people, decision makers in the company to believe in it, to see the value for the company, and then to push it to their employees.
Got it.
Just again, you have an amazing energy, huh? But use it to convince us with like the use cases, the things that you've learned from your users trying the product, rather than trying to convince us through being rational, you know?
Actually, it's always a very difficult product to pitch, and realize that it's only when people use it, they actually get it.
Yeah.
So I suggest you try it, because this is the best way to get it.
No, then you have to show the face of the people trying it.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
You know, that's the way I want to try it, because here it's going to be hard.
Captain Train?
Well, yeah, well,
What I was saying is pitching Captain Train. I told everyone that Captain Train was amazing, and everyone told me, why don't you use WebGSNCF? And I never found anything compelling to have people switch from one to the other until they used it, and it worked. But like, I never found it. Sometimes I told them it was cheaper because they did better connections, which is true like once in 1,000. But like, it's really difficult.
It's about you convincing because you've been through it, and it's just simple and smooth, and you can see the authenticity in your eyes, you know. So just show the authenticity of the users, and that's it. We're done. We're convinced, and we follow more than rational things, because when you do real innovation, like Station is doing, if I trust you, then it's hard to believe. It's hard to believe by rational explanation. Just show us the face of the people saying, oh shit, this is awesome. And then we buy everything. All right.
Thank you.
Bravo. Thank you. All of the picture, come on stage. Okay. So who's going to win? So you have to think of your favorites. I say 1, 2, 3, the name, and you vote. Make some noise for everybody, but make more noise for your favorite one. Okay? Okay. So, for Slite, 1, 2, 3. Okay. All right. For Near, 1, 2, 3. Okay, for Forest, 1, 2, 3. For Briq, 1, 2, 3. Okay. And for Station, 1, 2, 3. Okay. Okay, they are all the same. So, I mean, it's impossible to choose, right? Obviously. qui a gagné? Tout le monde, j'ai envie de dire bravo. Wouh! Yeah!
Que la famille.